Hi, this is MrDisneylandMan, and today I'm going on the tender. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hello there, welcome. Watch your head.
I'm Isaac.
Hi, Dean. Cliff.
Hi.
How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Very well, very well. You've been up here before, right?
Yeah, once.
I think you were on my train, as a matter of fact. See the recognize. So you come up with any questions since the last time?
No, but I'm all ears. Whatever you want to tell me.
Well, we are on engine number 2. Like we told you the last time, the engines 1 and 2 are the only 2 engines that give tender rights. Although that is going to be modified next year when engine number 4 is being overhauled right now. And when it comes back in June, it will have a tender seat on it. So we'll be able to take tender rights on all 3 of them. And I venture to say that it's probably going to be a lot more comfortable than this little seat. We are burning biodiesel. Got a little fire going. This particular engine runs at about 125, 130 pounds of pressure, which is indicated here. The other gauge you see is what's called a duplex air gauge for the brakes. And it shows how much air we have available for the brakes, to use on the brakes, and also shows how much we have applied. The black needle being what's available, the red needle being what's applied. Right now we've got, what, maybe 5 pounds applied or less. That's just holding us steady. This black unit you see out here, that's the steam-powered air compressor.
Steam-powered.
That's what gives us the air to use in the brakes. Also gives us air for the sander. The center dome that you see out there, that's what they call the sand dome. And there's a line that comes out each side and goes right in front of the drive wheels. When Cliff hits a button down there, you can actually put sand down onto the track to give us better traction.
Do you guys do that often?
On a wet day, you'll do it. Sometimes the tracks will get greasy. I mean, we actually, believe it or not, we do grease the tracks, the side of the rails, to keep them from squeaking on certain turns. When you go around, like between Tomorrowland, between Toontown and Tomorrowland, we don't grease those rails. It really squeals going around that turn. Very annoying.
Yeah.
And sometimes the guys will get a little carried away with the grease and get some on the top, so that doesn't work too well. We wind up using our sanders. A lot of the valves you see in here are duplicates, and that's simply for safety reasons. For instance, this valve right here is my atomizer that allows me to inject steam in with the fuel so it atomizes and burns clean. If this valve were to go bad on me, if you follow it up here, that's the second one. So I can isolate this whole unit by shutting that off, or I can regulate the steam by using that valve. So it's a safety thing. And if you just follow the other one, this one right here, is a blower valve, which actually does not have a secondary to it because it's not a safety thing. These valves here, I can shut this off here, or I can shut it off here. So there's a lot of safety stuff involved because these valves wear out. And if this one were to go bad, for instance, we can radio in to the roundhouse and say, hey, I need an atomizer valve. And just unscrews right there, you know.
How often does that happen?
Oh, once every 6 months, they'll actually change a valve out here. Usually they'll start getting tight and so on, and we make a note and say, and these valves here we use a lot more than the water valve. We inject water, I open the water up, and again we use steam to inject it. You can hear it. You hear it now?
Yeah.
So now we're actually taking water from the tender and it's being injected into the boiler. By using the steam, it accomplishes 2 things. One is we have a boiler with 130 pounds of pressure. You can't just take the top off and pour water in. So by using the steam that's in the injector and it mixes with the water, it's putting in the water under pressure and it's also preheating it.
Bet you it's nice to sit up here on a chilly day, though.
Oh yeah, we don't. It's nice on a chilly day, and it's miserable when it's 100 degrees out. Our water tower here, that's a genuine water tower. We take on water every 2 hours, and we boil off approximately 135 gallons an hour, depending on how things. But approximately.
How much water does the tender hold?
Okay. Are you going to chase us off? No.
No, I don't want him on here.
As dirty as the end, you just came to say hi. This building right here is our break room. That's where we take our breaks. So these guys right here are on one of the other trains.
Attention to the toll.
And they just came by to hassle us.
Yeah.
He's a bad influence then.
Careful, I'll go around the other side.
Your brother's a conductor?
Huh?
Your brother's a conductor?
My cousin Seth, I think he's a conductor on the Union Pacific.
Out here?
Yeah. Well, actually, he just moved back to Colorado.
What?
Have a nice evening.
Have a good one.
Have a good ride.
Cliff over here is actually the only, we have about 35 people in our group that work as engineers and firers. And Cliff is the only one that has crane experience. He's retired from the Santa Fe Railroad.
Santa Fe.
They come here to play. They pay me to play.
This right here is the fuel stick. That's how I control how much fuel goes in. If you watch the fire, I'm going to turn it up just a hair. See the glow get brighter. And see how the glow turns?
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm going to add a little atomizer to it. And if you watch the valve, when I say little, that's it. Very, very little. And it's simply to keep it from smoking. The blower over here, very seldom. Once the blower is critical when the engine is in a warming or in a cooling down process. Once you've reached steady operating temperature, you very seldomly mess with the blower. Yeah. Once it's set, it's set. The light system that you see up there, the green light, that's what we call our block light system. The track is divided into 10 sections. 10.
Okay, no problem.
10 sections or 10 blocks. You can only have one piece of equipment in any given block. The green light is telling us right now the block ahead of us is empty. Once we get going, if the light changes to yellow, that's letting us know we're okay in the block we're in. But we cannot go into the next block because somebody's still in it. Okay? If we buy, and we know where the block markers are. It's very obvious. We'll try to point them out to you. Well, one of them is right here. Block number 3, just before you get into the tunnel. You see little cement, wait till she goes by, cement thing on the ground with the number 3? Yeah. Okay, one is up. And the same thing that means the side of the track. If we do violate a zone, in other words, if it's yellow and we go into the next block, we will get a red light, but every train in the park gets a red light, and everybody has to stop. until we figure out what's wrong. And needless to say, Mickey gets a little upset about it.
Again, this is Mr. Disneyland Man on the train tender of the E.P Ripley.
This thing. Huh? You didn't know about this thing. That's just a stick on the ground he plays with all the time. It's called a Johnson bar.
Johnson bar?
Where the name came from, I have no idea. But what it is, it's a forward and reverse lever. When it's all the way forward, you're going forward. When it's all the way backwards, you're going backwards. There really is no such thing as a neutral. But when you put it in the middle, it's kind of like being in neutral. You also, once you get rolling a little bit, you'll kind of notch back on it a little bit. What it's doing, it's changing the distance of the rod travel or the piston travel that makes the train go. And what that is just like on a car, when you go to take off from a light, you got to step on the gas a little harder than when you just kind of cruise along. So you need less steam to keep the train going than it does to make the train take off. And by moving the Johnson bar, you're accomplishing that. Remember, we had a yellow light, just went green.
Yeah.
Okay, now, we know this particular zone. Put some water in here so we don't make this thing into a balloon. This particular zone starts back there at that tunnel and ends at the beginning of this tunnel. And if you've been on the train a lot, you'll notice that occasionally we will stop out here. And that's usually because we have a yellow light and there's still a train at Toontown.
Yeah.
You can see the block on the ground just before you enter the tunnel right there. Zone number 5. Every time we enter a station, we get a yellow light. And that's simply telling us we can't leave the station. We get a green light.
All right.
Little markers you see on the ground down there, the little flags, 1, 2, 3. That's simply to let us know where to stop the train, depending as to what combination of cars we have, so that the wheelchair ramp on the last car lines up.
All right. Yeah, because I was on the train like a half hour ago, and they had to back it up a half a meter.
There you go. Yep.
The tall guy must have been the engineer that was out there.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while. You miss your mark. This unit right here is a hydrostatic lubricator, and it puts oil into the lines going into that compressor right there. And And it's a drip system. If you watch it, like this one's set to give a drip about every 40 seconds or so. And it simply lubricates the compressor. We can control, there's 1, 2, 3 valves that give us control over it. And again, it's one of those things that once you've reached normal operating temperature, you set it and forget it.
Yeah.
This right here is our sight class for the water level. This particular train's supposed to run at 1.5 knots. So this is 1 knot, that's 2 knots. So we want our water level to be in between, which is right about where it's at right now. So I can go ahead and shut the water back off. What else we got? We've got a speedometer up there. The
Where?
speedometer up on top there is measured in feet per second.
Feet per second?
Rather than in miles per hour. Rough translation, very rough. 7 feet per second is about 10 miles an hour. No, 7 feet per second is about 5 miles an hour. It's faster than the miles per hour. The most we ever will go here is about 17 feet per second, which is about 12, 13 miles an hour. Feels faster because you're rickety-rackety and so on. That's all you want. These valves right here are what they call tricocks, and that's a manual way of checking where your water level is. At that height, we were getting steam. At this height, we were getting water.
What does that mean?
The water level is right in between those two. And at the top of the boiler, where your tubes are, is what's called a crown shield, and that's, you always want to have water on the crown shield. Because if you don't get water there, it will buckle and it'll cause all kinds of bad things to happen.
Unemployment for one.
Well, that's true. That's, yeah.
Well, weren't you just here to play, though?
The other two things Cliff has on that side that I don't have is the brakes. That's the brake stand. That's used to apply the brakes. That's the brake release. That's to release the brakes. He also has injectors over here like I have. So if mine don't work for some reason, he can inject water from that side.
Oh, yeah.
This particular engine does not have 2 sight classes. We only have 1 here. Most other engines, all the other engines, we have are 2.
Never knew that. The only one. I learned something today.
What scale are these?
5/8.
5/8.
The box you see up there is part of our low water alarm system, and that's one of the 2 things that we have that are not, I mean, all this technology we're talking about is 1800s. It's nothing new. We have a sensor right there. Again, if you notice, it's right where the water level should be. If the water level gets too low, it will shut the fuel off. Well, it'll do 2 things. Number one, it sets off a beeping alarm out of that box, and that gives us 30 seconds to get the water level to where it should be. If we don't get it to a safe level, we'll shut the fire off. We won't be able to restart it until the maintenance crew comes out with a key and resets it. And that's another one of those things where you may most likely be taking your last check home with it. You're going to go to work for the governor.
That's air conditioning.
Yep.
Just
You have free-flowing air conditioning.
they just give you a little crack right there.
It's nice in here in the wintertime. Summertime, it's about 30 degrees hotter in here.
Yeah. It's like in the winter, you got your own little fireplace.
Yep.
The front tank behind you is mild diesel and back with water.
About 1/3 fuel, 2/3 water. And like I said before, we take on water every 2 hours.
I have water. Before I get fuel next trip. That's another hour. Get fuel at 5 o'clock.
We do have grease on the truck here, different types of oil. We do have to lubricate things at least every 4 hours, not more frequently. And you probably noticed already, everything is rather hot. So the gloves we wear are for our work, not just for looks.
Yeah.
Most of the things on that side are not quite as hot.
But I get dirty because the gloves are dirty on this side. I get dirty.
Our control system is very basic. We have a system with the conductors. They have radios, so they know where the other trains are. We do not have communication. And they signal us with bells and hand signals. You notice every time we go to pull out of here, we give it 2 whistles. 2 whistles means you're going forward. 3 whistles means you're backing up. 1 whistle means you're making a stop.
Okay.
And you do not have to signal every time you make a stop. If you're making, usually if you're making an unscheduled stop, you'll give it a whistle. And we have a bell up there, which you probably haven't heard yet. And that's hooked up to each one of the cars, has a button. You can see that on this front car. See this gold button right there?
Yeah.
Where the conductors can signal us the same way. If they give us 1 bell, we're going to stop.
Okay.
If they give us 2 bells, once we're stopped,
Blow up that.
I already.
Oh, did you?